Okay, so today we're going to learn new lesson, immunity. We have left two lessons in the gas exchange system, that is a regulation of respiration and diseases or problems associated with respiratory system. So I will upload these two lessons this month and let you know that you can complete that lessons. So then the gas exchange system is completed. After that, we have to start immunity. So I haven't done that two lessons because we missed the class last week. For that, I will upload these two lessons and you can complete it. Now, today we're going to learn a new lesson, immunity. Okay. This is something different to other lessons. Reason is some of the concepts are very advanced and certain things are not completely understood. We have a lot of gaps in between. It doesn't matter. According to the resource book, we have to learn things. However, I have seen the last exam 2022, some of the question asked from immunity, you couldn't answer for these questions if you don't know a little bit more about immunity. Because immunity in resource book is very basic. So this basic is not enough to answer certain questions, because we have to extend the knowledge a little bit more, then only we can answer certain question in immunity. So I will show you after the completion of immunity lesson, taking that question from last year exam, whether the content in resource book is enough to answer that question or not. Generally, it is not enough, because for understanding, you need a little bit more information. Okay, that is the speciality of the immunity. So let's try to learn step by step what is the immunity and what it does to our body. Okay, to understand the basic concept of immunity, we take human body. Now we are not safe in our environment, because there are many different types of harmful things can damage our body, can make us sick, can even kill us. So what are the harmful things? We know without learning science, we know without learning biology, we know without learning immunity, certain organisms can cause sick. So collectively, these are called pathogen. Now in this group, As we learned before, the kingdoms, prokaryotes, that is mainly bacteria. They're number one causative agent under this group. And we haven't classified certain organisms under the 5 kingdoms. So first kingdom is protist. Virus is not come under that category. So virus considered as pathogens, and less frequently. So I cannot say bacteria is number one, virus is two. So these two we can consider as the number one group of pathogens, bacteria and virus. And less frequently, protist and fungi. So bacteria, virus, protist and fungi. And animalia, certain worms, nematodes, platyhelminthes. Worms can also try to damage our body. But they are protist, fungi and animals, animalia. Some of the agents in these groups are still important, but compared to bacteria and virus, their role is very less. So bacteria and virus is the main cause at the moment can harm our body. So this is the pathogens. Now the next thing that can harm our body, different chemicals. So different chemicals that could be from plants, that could be from animals, or any other synthetic chemical or any kind of a chemicals. There is again a potential threat to make us sick, make our system fail. And what about the physical injury? Wounds, cut, this kind of a thing is also not good to our body. They can also change our system. So then broadly, we can say there is a resistance the body has a resistance in the sense kind of a protection, kind of a prevention. So resistance to pathogens, some chemicals, and some kind of injury. So broad sense, if we want to define immunity, is a body's resistance against pathogens, chemicals, physical injury. So this is the common definition we can take as immunity. So the system which is responsible to protect us from these harmful things is called immune system. So this is the immune system. The immune system try to protect us from harmful things. So pathogens, chemicals, or physical injuries are the harmful things. So immunity is a resistance against harmful things. Immune system is the whole compartments, whole method used by the body to protect us from the harmful things. Okay, then now we are coming to the problem. The problem in the sense, we can challenge this. So we can challenge this definition by adding few different things. So what are the few different things we're going to add? Bacteria, virus. Okay, let's say bacteria. Then one can argue we have bacteria in our body. We have bacteria in our, on our skin. We have bacteria in intestine. We have bacteria in our mouth. And why immune system is not remove these bacteria? And there's a question here now. So we take a lot of different chemicals. We take animal food. We take plant as food. So animal proteins. And there are other components. Why then frequently we are not developing a response to these other chemicals? Food, example. And then one can still ask a question, okay, one person is eating prawns, cuttlefish, but then after that, this person develop a response called allergic response. That means it is still recognized as response from the body. And one person is eating pineapple and tomato-like things and developing a response. So why others not developing? So there is again still a question. So we leave the questions to answer this, why it is not developing immune response to certain things and why it is developing a response to other things. We had to find answer one day. But now further to understand, to support the concept about the immunity. Now what is immunity? It is a body's resistance against harmful things. And how does body know it is harmful or not? So we are now coming to the points. How does body identify it is harmful or not harmful? Now, generally accepted model does not come as a theory. Sometimes people try to use as a theory. Theory is what we learn like a cell theory like things based on many scientists' evidence. They make a concept and this is called theory. Darwin theory is another thing. So we accept these theories. Here we don't have a very clear theory, but we have a different models. Now, accepted model at the moment is called self and non-self model. Self and non-self model. Now the self and non-self, why we call self? And non-self, because this is foreign to the body. It is not a part of the body. It is not a molecule in the body. It is not present at all in the body. In human body, it is not there. Self mean own, let's say cells, the own body cell. Now the immune system recognize self and non-self. That is the main concept we bring here. Immune system can recognize self and non-self. Now this is a little bit of a old model proposed by Macfarlane in 1940 around, 49 around, Macfarlane and his colleagues. So this model proposed to make the student, scientists and people that they understand why immune system activate to non-self and why immune system is not activating to self. So this is the concept at the moment we are using, but it doesn't mean we are going to accept completely this is the correct model, because still we have a problem. Why certain things are still foreign to the body, there is no immune response. That means some components, chemicals in the food we eat, and we are exposed to different chemicals, example, medicines. The medicine has different chemicals, and there's no response. So still we have a small question about self and non-self, but we have to still use the model self and non-self model. So immune system can recognize self and non-self molecules, let's say molecules. So if there's a molecule which is not in our body, then immune system consider as a self, no reaction. If there's a molecule which is foreign to the body and immune system recognize it as not in our body, then start to make a response. Okay, not in our syllabus, not in our resource book, just something we could learn a little bit things. Then later, other scientists came up with a different model. So there is a one model proposed by a person, and we can still take, if you take self and non-self, so immune system can recognize self molecules, then no reaction. Immune system can also recognize non-self, then there's a reaction. Now this person, she actually Polymath Singer, so something around 1994 around, added a little bit more word onto that. There's something called danger. So it's called actually danger model. In this danger model, if body understand it is non-self plus it is danger to the body, then only make a response. Body first identify this is as non-self, and body secondly identify this is as a danger. then make a response. So this make a little bit of sense now. Immune system does not always trigger for all the non-self molecules, because we take non-self molecules into the body, like medicine, chemicals. We expose to different particles through the respiratory systems, and we contaminate a lot of things through the skins. And digestive system, we eat a lot of things. So we get a lot of chemicals, non-self, but there is no uh, response unless body identify non-self plus danger model. Then all immune system responds. On the other hand, this also provide little bit of information why body responds when there is an injury. So if we have a small injury, let's say you bump your head onto a wall, then you get a swelling, then you get a pain, and the area is getting red color. So this is a response from the body to the injury. And this case, what is the non-self molecule? Because still it's our own body. Let's say this is the bump, the head. Now, is there any non-self molecule here? Theoretically, no, because it's a person's own body. But there is a response. Swelling, painful, red color. We can observe these things. So this is also a immune response. That's only self, but again, there is a danger then. If the self, if there is something, still self, but body see as a danger to the body, then they make a response. So I just make a small comment. The comment is, we have to learn self and non-self. The body response, immune system response, if there is a non-self substances in the body. So we use within our system as self and non-self. But for your better understanding, science has changed. You can understand 1949. It's like many years, like 8 years. But now people learn more and people understood more. So they proposed many other things. So these things help us to understand much better than the old thing. However, we are always stay within our syllabus and our resource book level. So when we are learning a little bit extra thing, we should always understand this is a little bit extra thing which does not give marks to your papers if you add on to that. If you write something about this, you don't get marks because it is not in the resource book simply. But for understanding, we need little bit of information. Finally, okay, before that, I will send you the notes. So I am going according to the notes. This is the first lesson in the notes, Introduction to Immune System. And that lesson, there are 6 points. Actually, I am discussing the 6th point. So I will, actually, I forget to send you early this one. Otherwise, if you open this up on your computer, then you know what exactly the points we are talking about. Now, again, we are coming to another point, the self and non-self identification. How does immune system identify this. Again, I'm going to show you a very broad concept. We cannot make everything into 100% clear answers, but we can come up with the idea. The idea is immune system has different cells. So we're going to learn in detail later. So we know immune system has different cells. Now, if I ask, what are the cells of immune system? You can broadly say white blood cells or leukocytes. Again, within white blood cells or leukocyte, if you go to the circulation, we have learned different type of cells. So these cells represent cells of the immune system. Now, generally, some of the cells is the cell membrane, and this is the nucleus, let's say, and this is the phospholipid cell membrane. Okay, so this is this phospholipid cell membrane. Now, this represents a typical cell of the immune system. This is a typical cell of immune system. And you can still understand this is just a cell, like in any place of the body. Now, the speciality is coming up. Now, in this cell membrane, phospholipid membrane, what else we can find? Go back and check. You can find several other components. What are the other components? Proteins. Two types. Peripheral proteins and transmembrane protein, or integral proteins, or peripheral proteins. So proteins are embedded on the lipid bilayer, and cholesterols. Cholesterol is also there, and carbohydrate as glycoproteins or glycolipid. So that's a structure of cell membrane. Now I'm taking protein. So when I take proteins, I can embed this protein onto the membrane like this. So proteins are embedded on the lipid membrane that we have learned previously. Now, what is a little bit interesting thing in this protein, I'm going to add. It has a small extension like this. So this protein has a little bit extension out of the cell membrane. Right. I'm going to enlarge this picture. How do I enlarge? Here is the phospholipid. And here is the protein. Now this protein molecule is recognized, is termed as a receptor. Why we call receptor? Because it's a outer region. That means this region has a special shape. Now recall your knowledge about proteins. Proteins are made out of amino acids, 20 different amino acids by joining together two amino acids by peptide bond, and many amino acids join together to make the primary structure. The primary structure change to secondary structure, change to tertiary structure. Tertiary structure is a 3D shape like this. So it has different shapes. Now this shape, the yellow color one, can recognize molecules. That means it fit into the molecules. For example, if there's a molecule which can bind to this place like this, and here like this, you can also a little bit recall your knowledge on enzyme. So enzyme's active site has a special shape which can bind to the substrate, because according to lock and key model, the shape is fitting to the substrate. So same concept we can use here. Receptor has a binding site. This is a binding site. This binding site has a specific shape which fits into different molecules. Let's assume these different molecules are on the surface of bacteria now. This is a bacteria. Okay. You will going to learn these molecules of non-self now. So I will write for the first place, non-self molecules on bacteria. So body has cells. Body has developed cells from the immune system, and they have receptors. These receptors can recognize non-self molecules on any harmful factors such as bacteria. So this is the broad concept of immune system recognizing self and non-self. Theoretically, we can say the body has any kind of body has cells which can recognize any kind of foreign substances, non-self molecules. And these non-self molecules, when it comes to pathogen, mostly we use the term epitope or antigen. So we're going to learn these epitopes and antigens. So generally, they are not in our body and they are on pathogens immune system cell can recognize. Right. This is the end of the first lesson. So we learn introduction to immunity. What is the immune system? So it is very complicated. There are many models, concepts, but we have to stick to the syllabus. So main thing is, number one, the body make response when there is a danger, when there is a harmful things. That's called immunity. And the system who is doing this is called immune system. And the main concept of this system is self and non-self. Self mean body's own molecules and cells. Non-self mean which are not present in our body. One person's body. An immune system has cells. These cells can recognize non-self molecules. These non-self molecules, we're going to further specify into epitopes and antigens. So receptor can bind because its shape fit into the non-self molecules. Right, this is the end of the first lesson. If you have any question, you can ask. These are the things we discuss again. We define broadly what is immunity. It's a resistance against harmful things, so pathogens, chemicals, or physical injury. And the main thing is self and non-self identification by the immune system. This is proposed by 1949 by Macfarlane. However, we have still challenging things. How precise identifying and self and non-self. So there's another model proposed by Danger model. And main concept of immune system is to find continuously non-self molecules in our body. Epitope, and next thing is, I think it's familiar term for any of us, antigen. It means these non-self molecules, non-self molecules, just the normal words, but they specify into epitope and antigens.